Debbie Harwell, running for Horry County Council Chair candidate. Thanks for being with us this morning.
Thank you for asking me, Tim. Appreciate it.
You're the new guy.
I'm the new guy. I'm just about the only one that has not been on council, so I'm the new guy.
Yeah. See that's your motto. I see it all over town on your signs.
It is, and that's what it means. And you know, there's no women on council right now, and everyone that has been there is kind of recycling around. So I'm the new guy. I'm the one that has not been there.
And you're also a former radio host.
Yes.
You've done some other stuff in media. For people who don't know who you are, explain who you are real quick and why you're running.
Well, I founded the Myrtle Beach Herald newspaper about 20 years ago. I started the Myrtle Beach Business Journal. I was Debbie on Steve, Debbie, and Dave radio show for quite some time in the morning times. I had a company and I do public projects. I've worked on highways, bridges, roads, that type of thing. I have a public relations firm, and we go out and we conduct the public meetings so the public will know about the transportation projects and can have some input.
Why are you running for Horry County Council?
There's some projects I want to finish. I want to see us have a highway to the interstate. I see a danger down on the south end. There needs to be a southern evacuation route finished on the south end. I just see some things from a different perspective. I'm seeing a lot of hurt out in the community. When I've gotten out there, it's very sad in some of these communities. They can't pay the bills, they can't put food on the table, and when you can't do that, you can't think about anything else. You could care less if there's a pothole filled. And that's what it's all about. And I feel like economic development has to fill those holes for these people that are needing jobs. It needs to be done now. I think I'm a closer. I want to close the deal. Some people can sell and close. I'm a closer. Let's finish the deals. Let's do it. I think we can do it now, and I'm ready to do it with my transportation background. I think I can close the roads out with the help of everyone else. I can't do it by myself, but I think that I can lead the charge to close these roads out and get us started to a better economic development landscape here.
Well, let's talk about jobs and let's talk about economic development for a minute. Tom Rice, who is abandoning the seat, the seat that you're running for to be a congressman.
Left us.
Shouldn't say abandoned. Tom's a friend of the show. He really revamped under his tenure the Myrtle Beach Economic Development Corporation, bringing in Brad Lofton.
Yes.
Do you think that they're going in the right direction? Do you think what would you do to either change or steer it forward?
I think that what they have done is they've started the foundation. I think that foundation is a solid foundation. They have one of the best boards anywhere. They have a tremendous resource in their board. I would like to see it expanded somewhat into, no one's ever cultivated our CEOs that are retired here. I was out into the community. I have found a number of people that they don't want to go to meetings. What they want to do is help. They want to make a phone call and say, you know, I know so-and-so at Boeing. I used to work with him. Let's get this in here. And they can make a phone call, make the connection, and get them in here. So I'd like to cultivate the CEOs that we have retired here along the beach, and we have a lot of them.
And that's one thing that Brad Lofton talked about when he was on this show, was it not only consulting with CEOs, but he was talking about making this a corporate headquarters for places, making Horry County more of a place where you want to come and head your business.
And that's environmentally clean. You know, that's good paying jobs. That's a good strategy to go in. I think we're headed in the right direction.
Let's talk about, you also mentioned highways, let's talk about I-73 and some other road projects, infrastructure projects around the county. First off, I-73, there's not really much more to be done from the county government level to build this, but there's pressure that county leaders can help apply to state and federal leaders and different things like that. How would you work to make I-73 actually happen?
Well, some background. Well, gosh, I think I've been on the I-73 project for 30 years. We put up signs, future route of I-73 years ago. We had to take those signs down when we actually got into the process. But I had broken my leg. I was at the State House. I'd broken my leg, and I got a call from the Department of Transportation one day, and this is years ago. And Ms. Mabry was the director then, and she said, I have a project that I want you to go on. And she said, it's a big project. I have to have someone who knows the PD. And she said, I want you to be on that team. When your leg heals, please call me. And I did, and it was the I-73 project. So 6 years I worked on I-73. I met with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife. I met with all departments, every agency from state government, every agency from federal government. And I also coordinated the public meetings to make sure that everybody knew about the meetings. And I was in the room when we put all the factors into the machine and had them sorted out, you know, to find out where our possible routing would be. So I think I've got a good background on that, and I think I can work with the people that have already been working on it. And there's a very large circle, along with our new Congressman, Tom Rice, to get this done. Luckily, he's been put on the Transportation Committee. There's several ways that we can go about building this highway. We've already bought the right-of-way. I think that it just needs coordination, and I think it needs somebody who's a transportation specialist to get it done. And I think that we can see I-73. I think we can be driving on I-73 within 4 years if we would just get our act together here.
Let's talk about a couple other roads. 501. And I always tell everybody who comes on this show that when we're talking about this kind of stuff, you had to drive on 501 to get here. I know you did.
And it's a rainy day.
And it's a rainy day. What did you think? I mean, how can we make 501, which is our the only option for a lot of visitors right now?
Absolutely.
How do you make that an easier road to drive?
One, Carolina Forest needs an interchange. Carolina Forest interchange would take some of the traffic off that road. The paving of International Drive would take some of the traffic off of that road. But 501 has a pretty high traffic count. It would be very expensive to upgrade Highway 501. But what concerns me is that we've been so lucky about not having a hurricane. 501 is our primary evacuation route. We're out of evacuation hours. We're out. We can't get everybody out. If a hurricane would make a turn at the last minute, we cannot evacuate everyone. When we were having an evacuation meeting one day, there was a tractor trailer that had actually overturned on 501 and was hanging across the bridge there at the Granger plant. People could not get in, people could not get out. If that happens during evacuation, we're stuck. We've got to prepare. Hopefully we'll never have one, but someday we may have one. We've been here when I've stayed during several of them, and we've had some pretty bad storms, but we've got to prepare for the evacuation, not just for the traffic count.
Well, and you say 501, and you mentioned the Southern Evacuation Lifeline too. That's another road that has been talked about, but not much has been done on. You also mentioned International Drive, and I've also heard people talk about Postal Way.
Right.
These projects have all been talked about for a long time, but I think a lot of people are probably getting tired of the talk.
Right.
Would you be able to help move those and get them off the ground?
International Drive right now is on the list to be paved. We just have not gotten down to it. We voted on a referendum. It has to come in the same order that it was on the referendum. So International Drive will be paved before the sunset of this penny sales tax. Postal Way, those other roads, there are ways to do those. There are very creative ways to do those, and I think that we can do that. Southern Evacuation Route did more than just evacuate people. We have a minority community over in Bucksport. If someone's in the hospital, at the Waccamaw Hospital, it takes them forever to drive all the way back to 501 to come around and go to the hospital. They don't even get visitors at the hospital because it's too far to travel from there. But on top of that, our workers in the hotels and the restaurants, a lot of them come from Williamsburg County. This would cut down their time an hour and a half of driving per day. Their quality of life and everyone else's quality of life would be improved. They can go home for their son's graduation that night, whereas right now they're riding on a bus. That would also give access to education, health, all other things. It would stimulate the economy in the Surfside, Garden City area, and they're in gridlock. At 35 miles per hour, the Georgetown Bridge is closed. They're in a precarious situation on the south end.
Last question for you.
Last question.
And it's always the same question when I talk to a candidate. Why should I vote for you?
You should vote for me because, one, I'm a transportation specialist. I know who the Coastal Conservation League is. I know the DOT, I know the Army Corps of Engineers, I know the agencies, and I know what we need to do next. I think I can lead the way to get those projects done. Someone who's not worked within the industry would have a hard time maneuvering their way through that. I also think that I'm an analytical thinker. I think very practical. When we're talking about economic development, I'm envisioning you sitting at your table, you paying the bills, and you being able to feed your family. That's the way I envision economic development. We need to give you a job so you can have good quality of life and take care of your family.
Very good. And I hope to see you back here on March 5th for a big debate. That'll be the next time we're all in this studio.
I'll be here.
All right.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. And that debate is coming up Tuesday, March 5th. All 5 candidates have confirmed. We're going to do it right here in the studio. Send me through email, tim@wpde.com, or go to Facebook, Tim McGinnis WPDE. Send me questions if you have any questions for Debbie or any of the other 4 candidates.